Congresswoman Terri Sewell, and I am here at St. Paul Baptist Church with Pastor and Mrs. Weaver. And of course, look at the ultimate coach, your city councilman, Joe. Tell us why you and Shelton State basketball team are here.
Well, we believe in serving the community. I mean, this is what we do. We do it all the time. Pastor Weaver and his group over here at St. Paul do a great job of serving District 1. We appreciate them, and we just enjoy partnering with them and all they do.
Well, we're in the rain, but we're giving out. We understand that these are difficult times. Please know the West Alabama Food Bank is where we get most of our food. Please be on the lookout for other distribution centers. And thank you.
Thank you. Bipartisanship is not putting your idea in front of the other side and saying, take it or leave it. We've been saying since March that we want to negotiate a bipartisan end. We don't want to shut down. But what we've been told and said is that they would rather have a doubling and tripling of healthcare costs for families across the country. They would rather shut down the government instead of addressing that issue. And that's what was on the ballot last night in Virginia. Was certainly we had really great candidates in Virginia running, but that it wasn't just about candidate quality. It was the fact that this administration has not taken the high costs of living seriously, has not listened to the American people. Instead, they're building grand golden ballrooms. They were out of touch, and Republicans and Democrats alike showed up and voted against them. And so I think that's going to continue. And this wasn't an isolated incident. We've seen special elections all year saying the same thing. And so if Republicans want to actually listen to the American people, they'll come up with a bipartisan agreement with us. And what we're offering is very popular with the American people. Okay. We're talking about lowering costs of healthcare and many other things.
Well, I had a great visit today with the president at the White House. For us that's in the cattle business, cattle market has been very volatile. And keep in mind, these meat packers, the ones that are profiting from the low cattle prices, these are the same ones that had an antitrust settlement back in 2019. So by the president saying, hey, we're going to instruct DOJ to look at this again, his number one focus is to bring down the price of groceries on the table. When we sat there and explained to him what was happening, he was completely receptive. I'm telling you, the president dove into it deep. He was asking all types of questions, and it was such a surreal moment to see how serious the president was, as saying, my number one goal is to bring down the price of food. How do we do that? As many meetings I've had with the president at the Oval Office, this was probably one of the most meaningful ones I've had, because it was supposed to be 30 minutes and ended up going an hour and a half because we dove so deep into the questions. And I got to thank Cindy Hyde-Smith, the senator from Mississippi, and Tim Sheehy, senator from Montana, who just contributed so much to the conversation. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to fight for the great state of Oklahoma.
Hi there, everybody. It's Congressman Eric Sorensen reporting to you from Washington. November 1st kicked off the beginning of open enrollment for health insurance for the year 2026. Now, unfortunately, for most people, the cost is going up by so much. It is now the difference between deciding between insurance and paying your bills or your groceries. I just got a private message from Molly in Moline on Facebook. And she told me that her premium is now doubling for next year. And for the first time in her life, she's now going to have to just go without health insurance. Molly, your story's not alone. It's not the only story that I've heard from people in our district. But she works for a small mom and pop business. We also have to remember that farmers are small businesses too. Their health care costs are doubling. So my question to you, do you think that it's right that healthcare costs are becoming so expensive and not enough people in Congress here are standing up for real people? Because it's unacceptable to me. It's why we must reopen the government while preventing healthcare costs from soaring out of control. And I've been working nonstop during this shutdown, hoping that Republicans and Democrats can come to the table with a plan to work together for the sake of people like Molly. For more than a month, they've given up on her and they've given up on the people, while many of my colleagues are out on some vacation on an island somewhere. Whether it's, I think in this place, it's got to be either a give and take, somewhere in the middle. We need to put aside the stupid partisanship, stop the dumb political games, and deliver for the people. I'm ready to negotiate with anyone in good faith on an agreement that will keep healthcare affordable for my neighbors. Because everyone should have access to high quality, affordable healthcare. And if you're like Molly and you have a story to tell, let me help amplify it. We need to tell these important stories from neighbor to neighbor. So please get in touch with me because I want to hear from you. Go to sorensen.house.gov, click on Share Your Story, and let's talk. But most importantly, thank you for listening.
You know the Democrats are going to do that, and most of you will admit the Democrats are going to do that, so why aren't we doing it? And I think only a foolish person would be against that, especially when you realize that these are crazed people. These people are absolutely crazed, Trump derangement syndrome, whatever it may be. And I am totally in favor of terminating the filibuster, and we would be back to work within 10 minutes after that vote took place, and lots of other good things would happen. And it doesn't make any sense that a Republican would not want to do that.
If they're not going to do that, then it seems like you'd have to make a deal with Democrats to end the shutdown.
Here's some of the things that we'd pass if we terminated the filibuster. Voter ID, no mail-in voting, no cash bail, no men and women sports, no welfare for illegals. You could go on and on. This is 2 pages of things we'd do if you did that. Without it, I don't know that you passed anything because you can't deal with them. They're really irrational. They really are.
What is your response to Chuck Schumer's proposal here to keep those ACA benefits going for another year, bipartisan committee to work on those, and reopen the government with a clean CR?
God, please give me patience, because if you give me strength, I'm going to need bail money. What Senator Schumer is suggesting is that we do the dumbest thing possible that won't work. Stupid should hurt more. Senator Schumer says we should just extend the status quo for a year. What does that mean? That means that we would have to take $35 billion of taxpayer money and give it directly to the health insurance companies without any commitment of lowering premiums. How is that going to reduce health care costs? How's that going to reduce premiums? The health care companies are going to take $35 billion from the taxpayers and put it into their pockets. I mean, duh. I don't know what Senator Schumer is thinking. Earth to Chuck. I mean, earth to Chuck. Am I going to vote for this? The short answer is no. The long answer is hell no. I think we're just going to have to get used to the fact that we've been in a shutdown. We're going to be in a shutdown for a while. I voted 14 times to lift the shutdown. The Democrats and Senator Rand Paul have voted 14 times to keep the government shut down. We're just going to be here for a while.
President, I'm trying to understand what's going on here, and perhaps the senator from Michigan can clarify. So every public sector employees union is supporting the senator from Wisconsin's bill, but you're objecting because you think it grants too much power to the president. Now, if that's, I don't know how every public sector employees union would be in support of this bill. And my understanding is the modification proposed by the senator from Michigan would essentially cover back pay, but wouldn't do anything to address going forward. So in other words, we're going to keep federal employees hostage. So they might get paid for back pay, but starting tomorrow, they're not going to get paid again. And that means that in the future, they continue to be pawns. They continue to get held hostage. This is a straightforward approach that addresses that issue. And that everybody in this chamber who isn't getting paid, I can't believe people come down here and look these people in the eye when he's saying right here, we will pay them not only for today, but for tomorrow and for the entire year. And we won't allow them to be held hostage and be pawns in a political game in the future. And my understanding is the senator from Michigan, on behalf, I suppose, of other Democrats, is objecting to that. Please, please help me understand. This is a straightforward proposal which addresses the concern that millions of Americans have who are headed to food banks and can't pay their rent. And you're coming down here and saying you're going to object because you just want to pay them for yesterday, not for tomorrow or the next day after that. It's about leverage, isn't it? Isn't that what y'all been saying? It's about leverage? This isn't leverage. This is the lives of the American people. Senator of Wisconsin has put forward a straightforward proposal to pay people, federal employees, today, tomorrow, and in the future. And what you're essentially saying is, well, I'm fine with paying them for yesterday, but we're not going to pay them for tomorrow or for the day after that, for the future. And we don't seem to care that there are men and women in uniform who are frequenting food banks, who are not making rent payments, or trying to borrow to get by because it's leverage. So, Mr. President, Madam President, I should say, I would hope, we're going to vote on this, so a senator from Michigan can object to the unanimous consent request the senator from Wisconsin made. But everybody in this chamber is going to be put on the record on whether or not they want to pay federal employees. Not yesterday, but today and tomorrow and into the future. I am tired of political games. I really am. And so feel free to object to something that I don't know how anybody in their right mind can walk into this chamber, look these people in the eye, and say, we're not going to pay you. So we're going to vote on it. You object to it right now. But everybody in this chamber is going to vote on whether or not they want to pay federal employees. Something that every single public employees union has said they support. I yield back to the Senator from Wisconsin.
Reclaiming my time.
Everybody, Robin Kelly here. I'm at Emmaus Church. They're partnering with Respond Now to feed the people that live in the 2nd Congressional District. I just want to compliment the church and Respond Now for really partnering together to feed our people, feed my constituents. It's terrible we're in this predicament, that the money has not been released despite what the both judges have said. But I'm proud to be a part of a community that really cares about its people and giving out food to all the people that come by. This is my 2nd food pantry giveaway that I've been at, but there's many more going on around my whole district. So I just want to thank everybody, ask people to keep the faith. We are working hard to end this shutdown, and so people can get their food and people can have their health care.
1 year extension, and then let's sit down, and in the words of Scripture, let us reason together. Let us have a conversation. Let's reopen the government. Let's extend health care to folks who in real time are opening up the portal and they have sticker shock. And then let's sit down and figure it out, because if we're honest, the status quo is not working very well for anybody. Anybody who's just trying to defend the status quo has not been talking to ordinary people. There are a lot of things that need to be fixed, and we can do that, but we've got to reopen the government and give people a little bit of hope. Give those 22 million Americans hope. Give the 44 million Americans who need SNAP some hope. Give our federal workers some hope. There's an African proverb that says, when the elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. It's the grassroots in Georgia and all across the nation right now who are suffering because too often the politicians make the politics about the politicians rather than about the people. Let's center the people. And if we center the people, we will compromise.
My Democrat colleagues claim to be taking a stand to make health care more affordable. While we may disagree on the merits of those individual policies, everyone in this chamber shares that goal. In fact, as a part of the clean CR that we have voted on 14 times to extend critical Medicare and Medicaid programs, we would have increased payments to rural hospitals. We would have provided access to telehealth services for our seniors. We would have offered our seniors the option to receive hospital-level services in their homes. But no, not unless we agree to spend $350 billion or $100 billion. The current request is around $100 billion. Not unless we agree to spend billions of dollars extending what were made temporary by my Democrat colleagues when they controlled the Senate. They were made temporary because they were intended to get us through the economic difficulties of the COVID crisis. And again, they relate to only 4% of the premium increase that is coming. And yet it is said that we can solve the entire premium increase problem today by just doing this. Not true.
We owe not only President Trump for sending federal law enforcement, a lot of federal law enforcement to Memphis, but also Governor Bill Lee, who has dispatched a lot of highway patrol officers who are manning the streets. That's a big deal. And yes. The one stat, there's so many stats when you look at what the task force has done. The last numbers I saw, there were over 2,000 arrests in Memphis and Shelby County since the task force started. But, and this number is a couple of days old, they have located 89 missing children.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It really is, Tim. And I bet that for most people listening, before the task force started, people had no idea that there were that many missing children to begin with in our community.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean,
Future interns applications are officially open for Congress streaming.
If you're interested in working in politics and you want to be a part of the best team on the Hill, this experience is for you.
If you're hesitant, don't wait. Apply now on our website. We'd love to have you as part of Team Meeks.
Come and be a part of the best team, Team Meeks. We have one of the best internship programs. Hey, I love my interns, and what better else to help make a change right where change happens.
Rather good to be with you. Thank you.
The stress must be insurmountable on these air traffic controllers. They're not getting paid, and of course they have to pay their bills like everybody else. If the worst happens, if there is an accident and it's due to air traffic control error, mistake from the stress, what's going to happen to the airline industry?
Well, I don't know if the people can feel they can trust it anymore. I don't know if the American people, we've estimates of 1 billion people traveling. You have more people wanting to fly to go see grandma and grandpa for whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas. So more people are flying. We have almost 50,000 flights daily here in the United States. And we have, 29 million miles of airspace, 29 million miles. And how are we trying to keep the American people safe? By Chuck Schumer not paying the air traffic controllers? We're 2,500 short. So there's been a problem before the shutdown. We have 2,500 short of air traffic controllers. I mean, we're bleeding, quite honestly. And now these air traffic controllers are having to deal with the fact that they're working 6 days a week. It's very stressful, the quality of life issues that these individuals are faced, and now they're not getting paid. So you can blame Chuck Schumer for all of this. Shame on him. And God forbid we have an accident. You can blame Chuck Schumer for all of this.
Jonathan obviously likes to lie as much as Donald Trump nowadays. Absolutely not. I mean, look, let's be really clear. We have been aggressive in trying to ensure that healthcare costs don't skyrocket for the American public. What we've been saying this whole time is, why do Republicans continue to pass Donald Trump budgets that essentially provide tax breaks for billionaires? Instead of actually keeping healthcare costs low or where they're at, they'd rather take all of everyone's hard-earned wealth and give it to the richest people in this country. And in this fight around this budget that's in front of us, we're saying enough. People can't afford their groceries, they can't afford their rent, they can't afford housing, and they certainly can't afford a spike in healthcare premiums, which is now beginning to happen across the country. And so what John Thune should do, as well as Mike Johnson, is bring us back into Congress. Mike Johnson has had us on vacation for over a month. Bring us back to D.C., and let's actually vote on a package that ensures that healthcare costs don't go up. And we're going to stick to that until they do the right thing for the American public.
And today, as I rise to speak on the one-year anniversary of President Trump's election, I just wanted to look back and reflect how in that year, he and Secretary Hegseth have set us on a course that risks losing again all of that accumulated goodwill, all of that respect. I'm going to talk about how they've weakened our alliances, politicized our military, dulled down our military readiness, and brought us closer to needless, even dangerous wars of choice. All of that leaving us weaker and less safe as we confront the most dangerous world since the end of the Cold War. President Trump is a master of distraction, so you don't ever have time to step back and look at the bigger pattern. It's amazing how many times a day the topics change. Are we talking about the tearing down of the East Wing or planning for a new ballroom? Or a renewed threat to invade a country in Africa, apparently Nigeria this week? It is a constant, unending smorgasbord of tweets and greatest hits designed to prevent us with its blizzard from ever seeing any pattern. Well, 1 year after his election, I wanted to take a few minutes and show that pattern to you today.
November is National Veterans and Military Families Month. Idaho's veterans risked everything for our freedoms, and we owe them our immense gratitude. When returning to civilian life, our veterans continue to be mission-driven, highly skilled, and dedicated to success. Many of these veterans have opened small businesses that are vital to the Gem State and our economy. I'm proud to recognize our veterans and their service by honoring veteran-owned small businesses this month. Businesses like All Hands Vending, American Patriot Plumbing, Iron Mule, Lava Hillside Suites, Lock, Stock, and Barrel Gunworks, Table 8 Overland Catering, and the Outback Cabin Rentals are outstanding examples of the impact Idaho's veterans have on our great state and country. Thank you to our courageous veterans for their honorable service to our country. And thank you to these entrepreneurs for continuing their service to the Gem State.
Here with a reaction, Kansas Senator Roger Marshall. Senator, it's great to see you. Great to have you on the show tonight. Let me ask you, will you accept this terrific offer by Chuck Schumer tonight?
No, Laura, that's a non-starter. What Chuck Schumer is asking us to do is to give $25 billion to criminals every year and $35 billion to insurance companies every year. That's what it's costing American taxpayers right now to partially fund Obamacare. So that's a non-starter. And that's why here we are setting, should we break the filibuster or not? I think that's the conversation that Republicans should be having right now.
Senator, Republicans, especially the more establishment Republicans, are very, very wedded to this idea of holding on to the filibuster with a death grip. Yeah. Given what the Democrats have clearly signaled they're going to do, they're going to pack the court, they're going to make Puerto Rico a state, the list goes on and on. President Trump went through it. Do you believe, given what this country and our people are facing, that it is time for the Republican Party to ditch the filibuster and start doing things for the American people?
Well, Laura, every day that this shutdown goes on, the more I'm convinced we need to end the filibuster. And as I do my math here, the same Democrats that some of my colleagues are counting on to protect the filibuster are the same Democrats who are afraid to come across the aisle and open the government. Just 2 years ago, every senator, Democrat senator that's still in office that's here today, voted to end the filibuster. Unless you can guarantee to me that the Democrats won't do it, then we need to seriously consider it. You know, the only other option I can think of is enshrining it as a constitutional amendment. But this absolutely should be the conversation and the debate today for the Republican caucus.
I mean, I talked to Senator Kennedy last night, and he agreed with me and the president that the Democrats will jettison the filibuster. When they get the first chance, they're going to jettison. So it's who does it first, right? But then he would not agree to end the filibuster. Now, I think that position, I mean, and I love Senator Kennedy, I can't square that position. The country is hurting. They want things done. You can't ride on the big, beautiful bill into the midterms. You're all going to get wiped out. I'm telling you. The president sees it. He knows it. Tonight, will you commit to moving with your other senators toward ending the filibuster, Senator?
Well, Laura, I'm never going to make a decision like that right now. This is bigger than buying a house. I would never buy a house without making a decision, sleeping on it the next night. But just one more really important point I think to make in line with President Trump's thinking here. If we ended the filibuster, we could end mail-in ballots, that we would require voting ID. We may never lose the majority again if we do, though, even just that alone. So every day I'm more serious about it. I'm not going to commit on national TV to doing it, but certainly every day I'm leaning that way. And if the vote was tomorrow, I would get down on my knees and pray about this one. It's a tough decision. It does protect the minority, but I'm with you. I don't see how the Democrats don't do this next time they have power in the Senate.
Well, Senator, it's great to have you on the show, and I know the Senate is going to do the right thing here. I've got to help the American people. Only way to help them at this point. We have no other option, unfortunately. Senator, come back soon. Thank you very much.
I should warn my colleagues, we will not sacrifice the ACA. Very revealing yesterday in the hearing of the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigation was the commentary from a number of my Republican colleagues, in effect saying that we should kill the ACA, an effort that has been part of their relentless campaign over the last 15 years to decimate this resounding and important law that now is embraced by the vast majority of the American people. And we put in the record stories of individuals from Michigan and Pennsylvania and Iowa, Aaron Lehman, a fifth-generation farmer who told us, I grow corn, soybeans, oats, and hay with my family. The Affordable Care Act has been one of the best investments in rural health care in decades. We cannot afford as a nation to go back to the days when pre-existing conditions were a pretext for denying health care if someone had a history of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, HIV, asthma, depression, pregnancy. The list goes on. Insurers could force patients to pay more or refuse to offer them coverage at all. Standing strong for the ACA very simply means providing health care to Americans.
The Supreme Court is about to rule on a major tariff case. Here's why you should care. Families here in the Valley have been hit hard. Prices on everything from beef and coffee to clothes, even toys for your kids, have skyrocketed. And it's only going to get worse the longer this trade war drags on. Let's be clear, tariffs are a tax on working families at a time when prices are up across the board. But that might be changing. The Supreme Court just had a major hearing to decide if this trade war is breaking the law. If they rule against it, we could finally see some relief. Lower costs for families, less strain on small businesses, and a fairer deal for our farmers. But if the court lets this stand, we're looking at another wave of price increases and more uncertainty for mom and pop shops already struggling to get by. They could put a stop to it right now, and they should. Families cannot afford another price hike.